Alright, so I got my Switch 2, right? Well, we're in there. Now, the way I'll describe the Switch 2, from everything I've experienced in the day, is it's that Jimmy Neutron meme with Sheen showing off something, and the class is like, Gene, we've seen this like 7 times, show us something new. And sure, it has a 2 in the title of it, so you don't expect something innovative or anything, but, I'm a little more used to Nintendo, like, changing it up between releases of consoles. Even the Wii to the Wii U, they had a whole giant gamepad, and that did a lot, even if it was a failure overall. But getting more into the details of it, right? So, first thing I noticed, console is noticeably bigger all around. In handheld mode, it feels almost as big as the Steam Deck, which in my opinion was unwieldy as a portable console. I really didn't like my Steam Deck, but that was for a lot of other reasons, to be fair. The size was a small one. But like for me, the test is, can it fit comfortably in my pocket? The Switch one kind of could. Like I can honestly walk around with just a normal pocket and carry it, which I would do like if I wanted to put it down for like 3 minutes, not put it in my backpack, and then take it back out. But this one, unless you want to go gamer core with the cargo pants, not working there. But I'm talking about the negatives. Let's talk about the good things, okay? So the Joy-Cons are extra thick. Like, I feel like these Joy-Cons for the Switch 2 are actually made for human hands, and especially when you use like that central connector to turn it into a real controller, it's actually really nice. Also, the quality of the Joy-Cons feels better than the Switch 1 Joy-Cons. They feel like a little bit less cheaply made. Also, they connect magnetically to the Switch, which is, honestly, it sounds like such a small detail, but that compared to like sliding in and out is so satisfying to use. Also, there's a new mouse feature, which honestly, for what it is, it's pretty good. I can definitely say I like it. I hope like there are games that actually utilize the mouse feature, but like at worst it's functional and it can be a fun extra feature. So overall, Joy-Cons, definitely probably an upgrade. We gotta see if there's another drift issue before we say definitely, but it's a good start. Now, the first game I played on the Switch was going onto the eShop, because anyone who used the eShop in the Switch 1, you'd start that boy up and it would take forever to load. You'd click on anything, it'd take forever to load again. There was a lot of buffering. You press something and like you'd wait like 5 seconds for anything to happen. So if you tried pressing to like go to a new store page and then going down and pressing A few times, no, you're going into the Twilight Zone. That is how you get to the AI generated 18 plus games accidentally. But yeah, so the Switch 2 actually runs the eShop well, which is nice. It also just runs a few of the games. Like Pokemon and Bayonetta, I noticed actually ran very well on the Switch 2. Like Pokemon felt like a real game made by a real company that cared about their product. And the Bayonetta 3, I'm like, oh, like it lends credence to the rumor that we were supposed to have the Switch 2 years ago, and then COVID killed that. Because if these games were released in like their 60 FPS clean state, I think they would have got a lot less pushback. I kind of want to play Bayonetta 3 now, to be honest, as a result of it running well on the Switch 2. It's that much better. And now I know you guys ask about Smash Bros. What about Smash Bros? I need to hear Smash Bros. You're a Smash Bros. Dude. Oh, Smash Bros. Sorry, I got too many questions about Smash Bros. When I was streaming. So, there isn't less input delay, which was to be expected, and in fact, it's kind of funny. So, it's locked at 6 frames of input delay, which you might be like, oh, what does that mean? So, Ultimate on the Switch 1 actually is either 5 or 6 frames input delay. It like has a variable input delay, don't know exactly what causes it, but yeah, so it's a little bit of randomization there. So now they just give you the upper average of the two. So it feels more consistent, but worse, I remember turning on and I was like, huh, it feels kind of bad on the menus and in-game, but maybe I'm just too used to playing like Street Fighter and other games. And it probably is partially that, but yeah. However, the Switch 2 loads everything really fast. Like the amount of time you save loading like the match start screen where like the characters are just there and you're just like seeing that menu, like the little ball in the corner. Yeah, no, it's basically gone. Honestly, the amount of time you can save on those loading screens is probably equivalent to like a whole Sonic match in a tournament if you were like, had a Switch 2 setup on the stream. And squad strike characters, they teleport in, bro. That shit is just like instantaneous. Also, Fountain of Dreams, 8 ice climbers on there, actually runs like a charm. No more lag spikes in the console dying. So, for that reason, I called my Switch 1 a potato. And the Switch 2 is now a super potato. Now, I did make potentially the worst financial purchase of my life when I got the Switch 2. I bought the Switch 2 Welcome Tour. And that game is like a self-glaze session that I feel like I should have been paid to experience. And like, I wouldn't mind it too much if you weren't forced to collect these like stamps from walking around, clicking podiums, and doing these mini games that show up the console. But like, in the first area, there's 18 stamps. I got 17, I did a couple mini games, and I don't know where the last stamp is. And I need to get the last stamp if I want to move from one Joy-Con to the center console, because it's like a giant, like, Switch 2 is like the map. And I'm just like, Nintendo, you were making me pay $10 to see you, like, gas yourself up. At least let me do that instead of locking me to finding all 18 little stamps about you gassing yourself up. And, I turned off at that point, didn't give it much time. Like, I already had low hopes, and my disappointment was extremely high on that one. But anyway, it's okay. We got positive ending. Mario Kart World. It's exactly what I expected it to be. You know, it is their main launch title. It is what they try to showcase the game with. And, you know, you and 23 other players can play some awesome characters from the Mario franchise, like Monty Mole, Penguin, Piranha Plant, Dracula while Luigi is in the game. In a pretty dynamic Mario Kart game. Like, the races, they have, you know, like the maps you pick, and then the transition maps on the roads, and it's actually really cool. It's weird to explain, but when you play it, it makes sense. There's a lot of content. I think the free roam is very cool. There's new items, there's like a new elimination mode, which is really cool, and there's a good like base map pool. I think it's like 29 maps, plus all the transition roads. So it's actually a lot of content in the game, and I think as a replacement or as a successor to 8 Deluxe, it's really good. I will say as a showcase of the Switch 2 though, it's fine. Like, it's just really safe, I guess, is my issue. Like, it runs well. Like, even in handheld mode, it felt like it was running consistent 60 FPS. Like, I didn't notice any issues at all. The 24-player online, I had no issues with. Apparently it runs rollback, I don't know. Granted, Mario Kart, like, online in the Switch, from my perspective, felt good enough. Not perfect, but, like, sure. Like, no input delay, really, but that's just because how it, like, runs, whatever. The point is, it is a really good-looking game, really good sounding game, really good playing game. Like, it showcases the Switch 2 well. But also, it's not the killer app that Switch needs, in my opinion. Like, I played for 2 hours, and I'm like, I'm good for now. I'll keep playing it, like, an hour or two here and there. If I can't sit down and grind it for, like, 8 hours, like I could with a Zelda or Mario game. So I'm hoping Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be that one that really showcases it, has these crazy effects, pushes the console to a limit, showcases the new features well, or the upgraded features. And yeah, so overall, Switch 2. Now, I'm a jaded old man, right? I've seen many Nintendo console releases and other consoles, of course, and I think this is the most whelmed I've been at a Nintendo console release. It's good, it's fine, I think the console's solid so far, but like, it's when Sony releases a console, right? When they go from like the PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's just a better version of a previous console. The Switch 1 is a great console, so that's not a bad thing. But I also feel a little bit like, from Nintendo, I expected more. Like, I remember when we got the DS first, and then we got the 3DS, and then we went from the N64 to the GameCube, and I was like, oh, that's just a graphic upgrade. But then you go from like the GameCube to the Wii with the motion controls, that's like, oh my god. And then the Wii to the Wii U with the gamepad, which ended up not being great, but first was cool. And then like the Wii U to the Switch was cool. Yeah, Nintendo, you're cooking. So yeah, this is probably their safest console. Still good. Yeah, that's all I got to say about it. Definitely, the fact that you can just transfer everything from the Switch to Switch 2, like all your files, download settings, everything, you know, it is just an upgrade at the end of the day. You can play all the Switch 1 games on the Switch 2. And I do appreciate that, because I did love my Switch 2.